Ray from Great American Ballpark and Matt Harvey on the mound for the Reds. As guys, it looks like we're finally ready to get started.
Yeah, it's a lovely evening here along the banks of the Ohio River. The rain has diminished. Tomorrow's forecast supposed to be spectacular and a very comfortable 75 degrees as we are set for the D-backs and the Reds. Here's the Diamondbacks batting order tonight, presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Now, we talked about the A team last night. This is pretty much it. Only the change at the catcher spot. David Peralta will lead it off out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Eduardo Escobar will be at third base. Steven Souza Jr. out in right field. Ketel Marte at second base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Jeff Mathis doing the catching for big game Bob Robbie Ray.
And your Ram Truck starting pitcher for Cincinnati, the right-hander Matt Harvey. Now 29 years old, the Dark Knight, the one-time Mets glamour boy and prince of the city whose reign in New York quickly soured before he was shipped off to Cincinnati in May.
Still throws in the mid-90s. His average fastball this season just a tick over 94. He can hump it up occasionally, get up above 95. He throws a hard slider, has a curve and a change that he rarely uses. Basically a two-pitch guy.
D-backs 11 games over 500, tied with the Dodgers for the National League West Division lead. Rockies 2.5 games behind. The Giants are 6 back. Dodgers and Rockies at Colorado again tonight. The Giants host the Pirates. David Peralta leads it off. We're set to go in Cincinnati, Ohio. On a lovely Saturday night. There's the fastball for a strike, and we're underway.
He likes that fastball first pitch, especially to left-handed hitters. He throws it over 80% of the time.
David at 303, those 19 home runs already a career high. Got jammed that time, pops it up behind shortstop. Here comes Herrera from left field. E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the diamond at the Reds defense.
That's Dilson Herrera. He'll be playing left field tonight. Billy Hamilton out in center. Philip Ervin over in right field. Eugenio Suarez once again at third base. Jose Peraza and Scooter Gennett make up the double play combo with Brandon Dixon at first base tonight in place of Joey Votto. Kurt Casale doing the catching, and right-hander Matt Harvey on the mound.
40 minutes was the official time on the rain delay to start. Here's Goldie. And this one is smashed to deep left center field. Herrera on the run on the track at the wall, and Hamilton comes out of nowhere and snags it up against the bullpen. Billy Hamilton ranging well over from center field. Takes extra bases and perhaps a home run away from Goldie.
Billy Hamilton has made this a regular occurrence this year, climbing walls, taking home runs and extra bases away from opposing hitters. Oh, not sure if that would have gotten out of here or not, but awfully close to that yellow line. Yeah, maybe off the top of the wall and back into play if Hamilton not there to make the leaping catch.
So 2 outs on 3 pitchers for Matt Harvey. Here's A.J. Pollock. AJ singled last night. He's hit safely in 3 straight games. 283 and 15 homers on the year. The crew chief Jerry Lane behind the plate tonight, calling the balls and strikes. Greg Gibson is our first base umpire. Vic Carapaza at second, and Jordan Baker's at third. One is on a hop and through. Peraza, the shortstop, into left. AJ's aboard. Time now, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Well, I'm going to say Torey Lovullo and his staff, the players in uniform down on the field, would never even think about verbalizing this, but I will say it. Assert your dominance. You look at this Reds lineup: Dilson Herrera, Philip Ervin, Brandon Dixon, Kurt Casale. Who are these guys? This is a game the Diamondbacks should come in here and stormtroop the Reds. Come back tomorrow with a chance to win the series and move on to Texas. Like I said, the players have way too much respect for their opponents and the game itself to ever say something like that, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, this is not the big red machine. It's not even the little red machine. Eduardo Escobar, the third baseman, bats cleanup. They have ruled that, by the way, a base hit for A.J. Pollock. Escobar 278, 15 homers.
You were talking about it the other day, exit velocity on home runs. He always, 110, 112. That was 104 on that line drive right at the ankles of Jose Peraza at shortstop.
So a single for A.J. Escobar, quickly down 0-2 against Matt Harvey. You mentioned assert your dominance. This is a Reds ball club, 14 under 500. They are last in the National League Central, 16.5 games behind the division leading Cubs. And Harvey, under interim manager Jim Riggleman, who took over for Brian Price when he was fired in April, throws over to first to keep Pollock close.
One thing Jim Riggleman immediately implemented when he took over this ball club, he felt there was a lack of focus on the fundamentals of the game. We were here early today and the Reds were out taking old-fashioned infield practice. The outfielders are throwing to the bases, the cutoff and relay men in position. You just don't see that around the game much anymore, but Jim Riggleman says until you tighten up your fundamentals, we're going to go back to the basics.
2-2 is fouled away. Yeah, Riggleman has admitted he's had to air his team out a couple of times. It got loud in there behind closed doors once or twice this year. Just not satisfied with the level of play from his ball club. Matt Harvey used to consistently throw 97 miles an hour with nearly every pitch, and as you can see, he can still work around 94, 95, as Bob mentioned. He'll throw that hard four-seamer about 60% of the time. There's a really hard slider at 89. Curveball and changeup used to be big pitches for him, but they have not been effective, certainly lately. Escobar has worked at full 3-2.
Well, I would imagine that organizations are looking at Matt Harvey in a different light now. I mean, if he ends up being a two-pitch guy, but they're 2+ pitches, maybe he finds his way to the bullpen.
Yeah, he's still got the fastball slider combo. AJ takes off. That pitch misses inside. A single and a walk with 2 outs brings up Steven Souza Jr.
Good job by Escobar to extend that at bat, ultimately taking the walk. Matt Harvey had a couple of quick outs on very few pitches. I think it was 3 pitches to get the first 2 outs. You'd really like to extend him in this first inning if at all possible.
I'll look at second, Escobar at first. Yeah, Escobar is a guy that will chase pitches outside the strike zone. That was a impressive at bat. Now a chance for Souza with 2 on and 2 out. Looks at a fastball, 0-1. Stevens single last night, now with a 5-game hitting streak. Well, you're right. Harvey was cruising through this inning, and suddenly he's got to work here. With the Reds, he's 5-5 in 15 starts. The Cincinnati ERA, remember he started the year with the Mets, is just under 5. He had a stretch, Matt Harvey, from the middle of June through the middle of last month when he went 4-0 in 5 starts, and he was really impressive. His ERA in those 5 starts was 1.86. He beat some good teams, had wins over the Cubs and the Braves. Beat the Brewers, beat the Cardinals, and suddenly just kind of fell off the cliff the last 3 starts. Another fastball from Harvey. It stays 1-2. Gave up 4 homers, lasted just 3 2/3 innings, and a loss to the Pirates. One and 2 on Souza. His last start was a bumpy ride. That was a week ago tonight at Washington. Harvey gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, went only 4 innings. There's a fastball, checked his swing, it's in there. And Harvey gets the strikeout to strand 2. Robbie Ray coming up from Cincinnati. Reds, bottom 1, your Ram Truck starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the left-hander Robbie Ray. 3 wins in 14 starts this season, the ERA just below 5. And Robbie tonight looking for his first victory since June 27th.
He did strike out 8 Giants in 5 1/3 in his last outing, but as we mentioned, took a lot of pitches to do it, and pitch count got up over 100 rather quickly for Robbie that day.
Jose Peraza, the shortstop. Fastball flies away, 1-0. Peraza, a .283 hitter. He's got 6 homers.
Not a good sign when that first fastball is up and away from a righty. Consistently has been missing arm side, up and out over the plate to those right-handed hitters with a 4-seamer.
That was a much better one. Got it in on that righty that time. And we've seen that from Robbie all season long. That fastball sails arm side up and away from the right-hander. Peraza chases one upstairs, and it's 1-2. Jose Peraza, a couple of singles. He scored a run last night. This is one of the toughest hitters in the league to strike out. He makes consistent contact. And as soon as I say that, Robbie blows him away with a high fastball. Here's the Reds lineup, presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Jose Peraza, the shortstop, led it off. Dilson Herrera, the left fielder, making his way to the plate right now. Scooter Gennett, the second baseman, batting third. Eugenio Suarez cleaning up at third base. Phillip Ervin will be out in right field. Brandon Dixon at first base. Kurt Casale doing the catching. Matt Harvey, the pitcher, batting 8th, and Billy Hamilton, the center fielder, batting 9th.
This is Dilson Herrera, the left fielder today. Boy, Robbie coming out firing fastballs. Herrera 167. He's homered twice. He is the right-hand portion of a corner outfield platoon with Mason Williams. We saw Williams get the start last night. That was against the right-hander Clay Buchholz. Against the lefty, it's Dilson Herrera tonight. Boy, Bob, this must be part of the game plan. I don't know how much of this is the coaching staff, how much is Jeff Mathis, but Robbie has come out just firing away. One fastball after another. No curveballs yet, no sliders. There's another fastball in, and it's 3-1. Scooter Gennett, the all-star, on deck. Missed upstairs. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
David Peralta will be in left field tonight. A.J. Pollock over in center. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. It'll be Eduardo Escobar at third base. Nick Ahmed at short. Ketel Marte at second base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first with Jeff Mathis behind the plate tonight for lefty Robbie Ray.
A one-out base runner for Jeanette, who is 4th in the league in hitting, batting .313. He's got 17 homers. Nothing but fastball so far from Robbie Ray. Jeanette singled. He struck out twice last night. He's hit safely in 5 straight. Robbie's command a little sporadic in his previous start. That was Sunday against the Giants at Chase Field. He walked 4 batters in 5 1/3. Second straight start in which he walked 4 behind on Jeanette 2-0. Got the fastball in that time. For Robbie lately, he's had trouble throwing that effective slider. It hasn't had quite as much depth to it. Hitters the last few starts have been laying off that low slider. He's not been able to throw it for strikes at the rate he needs to. And the fastball command comes and goes as well. There's a breaking ball, misses up. He walked Herrera, now behind on Jeanette, 3-1. The dangerous Eugenio Suarez is on deck. He's leading the league in RBIs. Right down the middle. Full count, 3-2.
Jeanette's always handled himself well against left-handed pitching. He was a highly thought of prospect in the Brewers organization, was an everyday player, so he faced righties and lefties throughout his minor league career. He's hitting close to 290 against lefties this year.
Herrera holds. This is tapped foul behind Freddie Benavidez coaching at first. Robbie Ray, 15 pitches so far, more balls than strikes. Herrera holds, and that fastball is low. He struck out Peraza, who chased some pitches out of the zone. Now he's walked 2.
Missed by much, just below the bottom of the strike zone. Good location for that 3-2 fastball, but good take by Scooter Jeanette to head on down to first base.
Mike Butcher heads out to the mound as the batter is Eugenio Suarez. Robbie in immediate trouble. And Suarez comes up here red hot right now. He's on a 10-game hitting streak. He's hitting .303 for the year. Tied with the Cubs' Javier Baez for the National League RBI lead. He singled and drove in a run last night.
I guarantee you, Eugenio Suarez has been paying attention coming out of the dugout and in that on-deck circle, and he knows Robbie Ray's just out there pumping fastballs. Wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him attack that first pitch in the zone.
Lays off, got the breaking ball. Didn't get the fastball he may have been looking for. It's 0-1. Suarez this year has been crushing left-hand pitching. Another breaking ball. Herrera heads for third. Jeanette wasn't sure. He'll go into second as Mathis retrieves that. Everybody moves up.
Yeah, spike slider. Just looked like it caught the inside of the left shin guard that time by Jeff Mathis. Normally that ball drops straight down in front of him. Kind of shocking to see it get away that far.
Herrera may not have had a good view of the baseball. He wasn't sure about advancing. Finally did. 1-1 on Suarez. Well, you got to get something to hit first, but as we mentioned, Suarez this year just about .390 against left-handers with 8 home runs. He's got Dilson Herrera at third, Scooter Gennett at second. 1 out. Fights off a fastball in. It's 2-2. Suarez has 7 home runs in his last 17 games. He got on a roll there late in July. He homered in 5 consecutive games. All here at Great American Ballpark. Already a 20-pitch first for Robbie Ray. He's only got 1 out. Another breaking ball, foul, 2-2. Phillip Ervin on deck. Fastball's up. Everything with Robbie always begins with fastball command, and we haven't seen it yet. 22 pitches, only 10 for strikes. He walked Herrera, he walked Gennett. Now he's gone full on Suarez. Got him. Good slider. A big out right there for Robbie Ray. 2 down.
7-pitch battle that time for Robbie Ray against Eugenio Suarez, but the good guys win this one. Started him with the slider for a called strike. Big pitch right there to start the sequence after throwing so many fastballs, and he bounces a couple of sliders in the dirt. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He's tardy on that one. Pulls another slider foul down the left field line. Takes high out of the zone, and then best slider of the sequence right there. Started at the bottom of the zone, ended up below the zone for strike 3. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Here's Ervin, who gets a fastball. Irvin's a guy who punched out 3 times in last night's ball game, hitting .295 on the year. He's homered twice. Ervin, the right fielder tonight. He was in left field last night.
Well, we know that anybody with a bat in their hands can be a dangerous hitter, but you look at this Reds lineup tonight. You get by Scooter Gennett and Eugenio Suarez, you should be able to have some cruiser innings before and after those 2 hitters. And Robbie may end up having a lot of cruiser innings if he can get that slider fastball in the zone.
There's that slider in the dirt. Yeah, this is definitely a get right start for him, especially considering how well he's pitched on the road this year. Robbie's road ERA this season in 7 starts is barely 2.5. He's been very good away from Chase Field.
You go back even to the beginning of last season. He's 10-2 with an ERA just over 2 in 22 road starts.
Second and third, 2 outs. Along the line, Goldie's going to give it a try here, but it heads into the seats out of play.
I'm just not a big fan of those low sidewalls. You get a guy like Goldie running over there full speed trying to make a catch on that little foul pop up, and you get to the wall and it hits you about mid-thigh. Yeah, if it was a little bit taller, at least you could use your upper body to protect yourself against that barrier. But when it hits you down there around the knees, you're going to flip into the stands.
It's a roll block, basically. Yeah. 2-2 to Phillip Ervin. Here it is. On the ground, a nice one-hopper for Ketel Marte. It took some doing, but Robbie Ray walked two, strands them both. No score in Cincinnati. Fans, join the D-backs season ticket holder family with a purchase of a full, half, series, or weekend ticket plan. You'll enjoy early entry, concession, and team shop discounts, postseason priority, and a whole lot more. For tickets and more information, visit dbacks.com/advantages. We have a big group of season ticket holders with us here in Cincinnati over the weekend. They all flew out on Friday. So a whole bunch of D-back fans, D-back jerseys around the hotel. We got about 50 or so with us for the weekend as Ketel Marte leads it off against Matt Harvey. There's the strike. Marte, 255, 10 home runs. Ketel 0 for 3 in last night's series opener. That snapped a 7-game hit streak for him. Harvey's kind of spraying around all over the place too. It's 2-1. Harvey's battled a lot of health problems, certainly in his days with the Mets. Clearly not the same guy he was after 2 major surgeries. He's had the 2 biggies if you're a pitcher, the Tommy John and then the thoracic outlet syndrome procedure. So he missed all of 2014. He missed half of 2016. He's never quite regained the form that made him a sensation in New York 5 years ago. That'll reach the seats on a play. There was a time where everything this guy threw was 98 miles an hour. You couldn't touch him.
And had a snapdragon curveball to go along with it.
Yeah, that curve and changeup have basically vanished for him.
What do you think about the history of the Mets? It seems like they've always had the big 3.
This is popped up third base side for Suarez. 1 out in the second.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-the-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink. Yeah, you go way back. Tom Seaver, Jerry Koosman, and John Matlack, the big 3 at the top of the Mets rotation. Later it was Doc Gooden, Ron Darling, and Sid Fernandez at the top of the rotation. They had Generation K, Bill Pulsifer, Jason Isringhausen, and Paul Wilson. Injuries and ineffectiveness kind of short-circuited Generation K, but then more recently Harvey, Syndergaard, and DeGrom. a bad way to build a rotation. The first 3 guys are all aces.
And they have injury problems now in New York. Steven Matz is hurt. Hand, foot, and mouth disease for Syndergaard. All kinds of other issues. Mohamed got the slider, then the fastball.
I mean, the Diamondbacks had their own big 3 back very early on with the organization. Nick Bierbrot, John Patterson, and Brad Penny.
The 3 Musketeers.
Yeah, Brad Penny went on to have a pretty representative major league career. John Patterson lasted for a while, ended up in the bullpen. Nick Bierbrot just couldn't whip the injury bug.
Got a fastball up, fights it off.
Yeah, those were going to be the 3 pitchers that the Diamondbacks built around for the first 10 years of the franchise. Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, now the teams that have success seem to get their pitching from other places. Team like the Astros and the Cubs, they go out and get guys. Verlander and Cole in Houston, and Lester with the Cubs. That way, if you draft a pitcher very high and he's hurt, you kind of protect yourself. Like Harvey is from Connecticut. He pitched at North Carolina. He was the 7th pick in the 2010 draft by the Mets. Those guys get hurt and your franchise is hurting.
I think there are a lot of people around baseball that felt that getting Matt Harvey out of the Big Apple and into a less pressure-packed situation, not quite as much media coverage for the Reds game as you get for any team in New York. Maybe get him away from some of the late-night temptations in the Big Apple, and Matt Harvey might be able to reinvent himself here in Cincinnati.
He was an all-star with the Mets at the age of 24. He became almost like a Joe Namath kind of figure in New York. He was the king of Gotham City. He was the Dark Knight, and he seemed to really enjoy that lifestyle. Fans loved him, and they ate it up as he strikes out Ahmed. But when the strikeouts and the wins went away, it got ugly quickly. Second strikeout for Harvey.
And when you're very visible out and about on the town with supermodels, people are going to start throwing stones. That's why he's not pitching good. He's having way too much fun. You can't really blame him.
Yeah, they kind of jackhammered his star on Broadway off the sidewalk after the concrete had barely dried. They couldn't get him out of town fast enough. Mathis behind the plate, as Jody told us at the top of the show. Kind of a different look for Robbie Ray tonight with Jeff back there. Mathis at 211. Jeff is hit safely now in 10 of his last 11 starts. And he's hitting .310 over that stretch. So it hasn't been all about the defense lately. And check with a hard slider. You could envision a scenario where this guy comes in and throws that hard fastball slider combo, gives you an inning or two out of the bullpen, and it's just lights out. He probably at this point doesn't want to give up on a career as a starting pitcher, but it is intriguing. He'll be a free agent after this year. He's 29. He'll be 30 in March. And Mathis caught looking at a fastball just off the plate. Harvey has 3 strikeouts, no score in Cincinnati.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that's the key to everybody that's out there on the bump. Be able to locate, be able to get ahead. I mean, doesn't matter who you are. I think everything works a little bit better when that's going on, and I think definitely the case with him too.
And Jeff Mathis paired with Robbie Ray today. Well, Robbie did throw 11 straight fastballs to open up that bottom of the first. All in all, 20 fastballs, 8 sliders. But guys, the key is locating, like Jeff Mathis said, and unfortunately only 14 of 28 strikes.
That's right, Jody. Here's Brandon Dixon, the first baseman, who leads off the bottom of the second against Robbie Ray. Here's a breaking ball for a strike. Dixon 169. He's homered twice, former U of A Wildcat. Only 62 plate appearances in 42 games with Cincinnati this year. He's in the starting lineup tonight in place of Joey Votto. Votto was back last night after he missed the previous 2 games with a right knee bruise. He was hit in the knee by a pitch about a week ago, so he sits out tonight. Here's Joey Votto.
He got plunked in the right knee pitch from Ryan Madsen of the Washington Nationals. You may have seen the highlights. Bryce Harper got hit with a curveball, and Joey Votto in retaliation took one right off the knee.
Yeah, so he sat out 2 games, got back tonight. Seems like it just kind of makes sense to get him off his feet tonight against the lefty. That knee might be still barking just a little bit. And so here you've got Dixon making his 5th start this year at first base, but his 4th this week. Fastball is up. Couldn't check, says Greg Gibson, and Robbie Ray gets his 3rd strikeout.
If the Reds are going to chase pitches up there, that's really going to help Robbie Ray. He continues to leave that fastball up and away from the right-handed hitters, continues to bounce the slider in the dirt. Needs the Reds to chase some of those pitches to keep him in this ball game a little bit longer.
The catcher is Kurt Casale, 292, couple of homers. Fastball misses. Tucker Barnhart gets the night off. Casale 292. And this is into center for a base hit. So he's now hit safely in each of his last 5 starts. A 1-out single, first hit for the Reds against Robbie Ray.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Jim Riggleman batting the pitcher 8th. So here's Harvey, Billy Hamilton on deck.
Escobar expecting a bunt, creeping in already from 3rd base.
Here comes Goldie as well from first. Harvey. That's a foul ball, says Jerry Lane. Looked like Mathis picked it up in fair territory. It was awfully close. But the plate umpire says foul.
Not always an easy call for the plate umpire. The rule is where the baseball is when it's touched, not where the player's body is, but where is the ball in relation to the foul lines. Jeff tries to get out there. It was fair momentarily, but then spun back into foul territory. You can see Jeff pushing the ball into fair territory, applied the tag, and threw to second. That would have been some double play right there.
Perfect hop. Instead, it's just strike 1. Escobar still in from 3rd. Here comes Goldie from first. Harvey pulls back, and it's 1-1.
Now, this could be a potential double play bunt attempt right here if Harvey bunts it hard at one of the Diamondbacks defenders. A slow runner at first, slow runner at the plate. This will drive pitching coaches and managers nuts. They're trying to give you an out.
Take it, say thank you.
Throw it right down the middle, let him bunt the ball, hope your defense can turn 2. If not, take the out.
Already 38 pitches to get 4 outs. Half balls, half strikes. Here's the 2-1. Harvey swinging away, punches it down the line and out of play.
Jim Riggleman apparently determining that there was very little upside in trying to get a bunt down, with Escobar charging from third, Robbie Ray coming straight in from the mound, and Goldie streaking in from first base, so he turns Harvey loose there.
Breaking ball got away way upstairs, and it's full on the pitcher, 3-2. This is where the Diamondbacks have had problems retiring these pitchers. They keep getting base hits. DeSclafani had that single in the 7th inning last night. Torrey really thought that was the turning point of the game, that Casale single. But he gets the fastball in on Harvey and gets his 4th strikeout. Willie Hamilton on a squeeze bunt turned into play of the game. Clay Buchholz tossed it up the line, and it brought home 2 runs.
You know, after seeing several replays of that play, I think Ketel Marte could have helped Clay Buchholz a little bit if he would have gone into foul territory to take the throw at first base. As Buchholz picked up that ball, he was right in the baseline. One more step into foul territory, and Ketel Marte stretching into foul territory. They might have been able to complete that play. But as you clearly saw, Clay tried to throw on the move, barehanded play right over the shoulder of the runner, and Marte just couldn't get to it.
Yeah, Barnhart scored easily from third. DeSclafani, the pitcher, came in all the way from first. That made it 3-0 Reds, and that was the ball game. 1-1 on Hamilton. Center, AJ drifting over there, and he's got it in front of Souza. We are through 2 at Great American Ballpark. The D-backs and the Reds, no score.
Season, an 8-2 victory over the Brewers at Miller Park. The D-backs became the 7th team in Major League history to hit 4 consecutive home runs in the same inning. Started with Adam LaRoche, a long ball to right, Miguel Montero, Mark Reynolds, and the final one, left-handed hitting Stephen Drew, all off of Dave Bush. So he set a record too.
That's Bush League right there.
Instant offense times 4.
back-to-back contingent of season ticket holders with us in Cincinnati for this series as Robbie Ray leads off the third against Matt Harvey. Harvey has walked one. He's got 3 strikeouts. Giving up 4 straight homers, that'll send you right into therapy, I would imagine, if you're a major league starting pitcher.
Dave Bush probably blamed it on his catcher. Bad fingers.
What do they know? Ray's retired to start the third.
Bad scouting report. Didn't have the shift right. They needed to put somebody behind the fence.
Well, that would have worked. Well, David, after that sensational series against the Phillies this week, still looking for his first base hit in Cincinnati. 0 for 4 from the leadoff spot last night. He flied out to start off this one. Coming off 10 hits in the Philadelphia series, including a couple of 4-hit games.
That's almost enough to make you want to play him in your beat the streak yesterday.
Uh-oh. You went down, huh?
Yeah.
There's the check swing tapper. Tough play for Harvey. He's on it. They retire Peralta.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Goldie, his first time up, hit a ball that would have been off the wall in left center field, the deepest part of the ballpark out there. But Billy Hamilton made a tremendous leaping catch up against the fence. Goldie got up there. First pitch he saw almost took Harvey deep. Wow, that's cool.
Boy, he's a really good athlete. Billy Hamilton, you know, you get lulled to sleep by his speed and you think that's what he's all about. He is a really good athlete. He can jump, he can run, he's got a pretty good throwing arm for a little guy.
And he came up as a shortstop. It took a while. They finally gave up on the idea of him as a shortstop, and they finally said, you know what, with all that speed, let's just put him out there in center. Let him chase down fly balls.
It was a good move. Less wear and tear on the legs as well. I mean, in middle infield, you're going to get hit on double play balls. You got to range to your right and to your left. Just turn him loose out there in center where he can really get going.
And we know what he can do on the bases. Although he hasn't been quite the runner this year he has in the past, but the glove, with all that speed, can get to just about anything.
Oh, how about that, huh? Robbed somebody right there.
2-2 to Goldie. Late time granted by Jerry Lane. Hamilton has really shaped his game to fit what he is. He took over as a center fielder. He's a natural right-hand batter. Started switch hitting so he could bat from the left-hand side, get closer to first base on some bunts and some infield hits. On the ground of Peraza at shortstop. And the dark night, Matt Harvey has set down 7 straight, no score in Cincinnati. score against the Reds. Don't forget, fans, if you can't watch the games on your TV, stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app, take Fox Sports Arizona, and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Jose Peraza, the shortstop, leads off the Reds' third against Robbie Ray. They love Fox Sports all the way from Phoenix to see the D-backs. Got a whole bunch of them with us here. It's great to get that kind of support. You got a first place ball club neck and neck with those Dodgers for the division lead. Scoreboard watching through August and September. That's what it's all about.
And players and coaches and managers that tell you they don't watch the out-of-town scoreboard are lying.
You've got the Dodgers and Rockies at Colorado tonight. Giants are home against the Pirates. Now the Rockies game just got underway. Top first at Coors Field. Yeah, that was the only saving grace really last night. He got back to the hotel and hung in. Oh, okay, Dodgers lost.
Yeah. That and the Reverend Horton Heat concert across the street at the Fountain Square last night. Didn't catch any of that?
I had no choice. It's right underneath the hotel. I heard every word. Believe me, there's Sousa. There's always something going on in that square that's loud and late.
Yeah, they had salsa dance lessons on Thursday night.
That was outstanding.
I thought I saw you over there.
Oh yeah, I can't get enough. Dilson Herrera walked his first time. There's actually a really nice area. Tom Brennan was telling us before the game today. Along the Riverwalk here, a lot of bars and rooftop restaurants. You get some great views of the river and the skyline here in downtown Cincinnati. Kentucky on the other side of the Ohio River. They've done a nice job around the ballpark and along the Riverwalk in the downtown area. There's that good slider from Robbie Ray. It's 1-1 on Herrera.
This area has really built up a lot since the days of Riverfront Stadium and the old AstroTurf. There wasn't really a whole lot on this side of downtown.
That slider's starting to look good. 1-2. Yeah, you've got the Bengals Stadium just a couple of blocks over. They had a game here Thursday night. Bounced at that time off the plate. 2-2. Well, as a native Ohioan, this is pretty much a return home for you. We do get to Cleveland every now and then, which is I know a lot closer.
It's not that much closer, but yeah, it's about the same trip.
Okay. Herrera hits a fly ball out to David Peralta in left field, just shy of the warning track.
Are they using the humidor here at this ballpark this year?
You know, there's zero wind here right now. It's muggy, but it's not too bad. It's comfortable, but every ball off every bat just kind of makes this sort of dead thud sound. I think you're right. It's very odd.
Like hitting a wet sweat sock or something. Just a thud. Haven't heard a lot of real solid contact. Of course, there hasn't been a lot of real solid contact the last couple days.
I mean, Barnhart had his double that started the 7th last night. Goldie hit a ball hard in the 9th. And that's really been it so far. There's a fastball first strike. And it's not like it's not carrying. That's not it. This is something else. This is just it's like hitting a sweat sock or something. Robbie settling down after he walked himself into trouble in that first. The command has looked better as he's gotten more comfortable. Just pumping that fastball in there on Scooter Gennett. It's 1-2. Of course, Fountain Square across from the hotel you were referring to is where you have that fountain that you used to see in the open of WKRP in Cincinnati. There's a fly ball to center. AJ backing up. 404 out there. And Robbie Ray works a 1-2-3 third. He's retired 5 in a row. There it is, living on the air in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, WKRP. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Remember watching Ronald Guzman of the Rangers take batting practice at Chase Field?
Yeah.
Well, it was batting practice for him last night in his Yankee Stadium debut, playing in front of his dad for the first time in the big leagues. He hit 3 home runs.
Good on him. Nice going, Ronald. I like to see that when a guy's friends and family come to see him for the first time at a major league game, especially Yankee Stadium, and then go off like that, hit 3 bombs. Nice going.
He put on some shows in batting practice.
Oh, yes, he did.
When we saw him at the start of the last homestand. Here's AJ. Got a chance at this one. Just missed it.
Yeah, Danny Graves doing radio for the Reds next door. How about that?
That's Marty Brenneman's seat right there. Caught it on the fly. Nicely done. And Harvey's retired 7 straight as we start the 4th. And AJ goes the other way, a base hit. He's 2 for 2. Time for these bats to wake up, Bob. Guys is kind of sleepwalking through the start of this series.
Yeah, we know what they're capable of doing, which is why it's so frustrating when they go through these team-wide slumps offensively. That looked very easy that time for A.J. Pollock. Just let the ball get deep in the hitting zone, shoot it through the right side, get something started here in the 4th.
Do you think there's a tendency following an off day, and we had the off day Thursday to travel here, that the first game back, maybe the first time through the order anyway, guys are a little slow to get back into the groove, the swing of things?
It sure seemed like it, but anytime you're not getting runners on base, guys aren't hitting the ball, they're not taking their walks, every team looks flat when that happens. When there's no offense, everybody looks flat.
Escobar walked his first time.
Occasionally coming into this ballpark and other bandboxes, if you go into Wrigley with the wind blowing out, or you come in here to this ballpark, you get home run happy. You want to pull everything in the air. Yeah, you can hit it out to the opposite field just as easily in this little bandbox.
Yeah, that was something Torrey mentioned with us when we met with him before the game today. It looked like maybe last night everybody was up there trying to hit one into the river because this is such a hitter-friendly ballpark.
Well, and everybody wants to be the guy to kind of get the big hit to jumpstart the offense. Circle it on the calendar. That day, that inning, that at bat is when the Diamondbacks turned it around, and I think everybody wants to hit that big home run.
Escobar backed out, was not granted time by Jerry Lane, and a fastball is right there for a strike.
He's not arguing. I'm not so sure he even asked for timeout. I think he just made up his mind he was going to take that 2-0 pitch and just kind of step back and watched it go by.
That is foul. Tell you what, you come into this ballpark after playing a lot of games in San Francisco and Colorado, Dodger Stadium, and you see this tiny little bandbox, and it's a lovely ballpark, don't get me wrong, but it's not a big ballpark by any stretch, certainly not compared to Coors or AT&T or what we're generally used to on the road.
It feels like you could set this entire stadium down inside of Coors Field.
Yeah, it really does.
And Wrigley's the same way. Fenway Park is the same way. When you go there, it feels like you're playing in somebody's backyard.
Those upper decks in the outfield, especially in left, they just look so close compared to some of the other parks. Like you could just poke it out of there. There's a hard fastball from Harvey. It stays 2-2. Eduardo Escobar, he's hit safely in 9 of his 11 games with the D-backs after he was acquired from the Twins. Souza on deck, 2-2 on Escobar. AJ at first. And here's a fly ball hit deep to right field, and that ball is gone.
There you go.
Eduardo Escobar gets it started. It's 2-0 Diamondbacks.
Hopefully we'll be able to circle this day, this inning, and that at bat as the turning point for the Diamondbacks offense.
The alarm clock just went off. And that is number 16 for Escobar.
Yeah, we just mentioned haven't seen a lot of solid contact in this series so far, but Escobar gets a 90-mile-an-hour fastball on that inside corner and knows exactly what to do with it.
That's a jumbo jack. Free jumbo jack tomorrow at Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. There's strike one to Steven Souza Jr. That's his first as a D-back. Fastball right there at the knees, 0-2. Souza struck out looking his first time up. Checks his swing on the breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Big home run by Eduardo Escobar. I want you to notice on this replay how still his lower body is and how quick his hands are. Very little moves until he drives his hands into the hitting zone. Then the hips clear, the front shoulder clears, and he jerks it into the seats out there in right. But it all starts with his hands.
Good take right there from Souza. Doesn't chase, and it's 2-2. He's got a lot of power for a little dude. 16 homers, leads the majors in doubles. Big cut, and Souza strikes out. 4 strikeouts for Van Harvey. Ketel Marte.
Put those fire engine red cleats on today. You never know what he's going to have on a given night. What kind of shoe, sock, helmet, batting glove combination he might feature.
It's all coordinated. Whew. Well, whatever he's doing, it's working, Ketel Marte. He's hitting over 340 since the All-Star break. Fastball is low, 2-1. Harvey had retired 7 straight to start this inning. The single by Pollock, the home run by Escobar. Now it's 2-1 on Marte. And this one is slammed out to left center. Who wants it? It's Herrera calling off Hamilton.
Fans, did you know that you can get $2 concession items at every D-backs game? Look for the Value Items logo to get a value hot dog, popcorn, or Pepsi for just $2. Visit dbacks.com/value.
Nick Ahmed, a strikeout victim, his first time up today. Nick already with career highs in doubles, home runs, and RBIs. He's only 4 away from matching his career high hit total set 3 years ago. He's had quite an offensive year. Harvey now at 70 pitches through 3 2/3. 1-0 Ahmed.
A rare straight changeup that time from Matt Harvey. Second time through the Diamondbacks order, maybe starting to mix in a little bit more of his secondary pitches.
This might be a case where it's kind of like Clay Buchholz, where he was injured for a long time. In Clay's case, maybe 3 years. And maybe once Harvey gets further and further away from those 2 major surgeries, he gets back to being the Dark Knight. So somebody might take a chance on this guy this winter, and it could pay off. I mean, that's made all the difference in the world for Clay, just being healthy. And it took a long time.
Maybe just narrowing down his repertoire as well. Instead of trying to throw 6 different pitches, pick 2 or 3 that you can throw for strikes consistently and focus on those pitches.
Buchholz had surgery for that torn flexor tendon in his right forearm after just 2 starts with the Phillies last year. He had some injury problems his last several seasons with the Red Sox, but now Clay is healthy, and he's been a tremendous acquisition by the front office. There's a tapper to third. Suarez charges. Low throw. Dixon's got it. But the D-backs grab the early lead. AJ starts it off with a single. And then Eduardo Escobar takes the Dark Knight downtown. It's 2-0 Diamondbacks in Cincinnati. The D-backs the early lead. And MLB.TV now available at a lower price, $49.99. Gets you every out-of-market regular season game and a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Visit MLB.TV. Take advantage of this special offer. Eugenio Suarez. The Reds' third baseman leads off the 4th against Robbie Ray. Robbie has retired 5 in a row. Struck out Suarez his first time up, got him on a low slider. Robbie plunks him with a slider that time, and Suarez is aboard to start the 4th.
That was actually a front foot slider that time. Caught him on the outside of the left foot. He'll head on down to first base to lead off the inning.
Philip Irvin, the right fielder. He grounded out to end the first. Reds traded Adam Duvall, their former All-Star outfielder, to Atlanta. Jesse Winker, Scott Schebler on the DL right now, both with shoulder problems. Winker's done for the year. Schebler won't be back until September, so they're thin in the outfield here in Cincinnati. Guys out there like Philip Irvin and Brandon Dixon sometimes, Dilson Herrera, Mason Williams. Not exactly household names.
Well, it is one of the upsides, however, of being 16.5 games behind in your division at this time of year. You have that luxury. It's not a luxury because they're replacing injured players, but you get to see some of your future at the major league level, not playing in AAA or AA, but up here at the major league level to see how they compete, how their tools play at the major league level. Sure, the Reds would probably rather wait another year or two to see some of these guys, but because of the circumstances, they're getting a real good look at them here in the second half of this season.
Yeah, this is Irvin's third stint with the big league club this year. He's played nearly 50 games at AAA Louisville. First round pick by the Reds 5 years ago out of Samford. Brandon Dixon on deck. And Irvin's a guy that can play all three outfield spots. He's played some center field here and there. Robbie so far has walked 2, struck out 4. He's hit a batter. 2-2 on Philip Irvin. That fastball almost sailed over the head of Mathis, and now it's full.
It goes without saying you'd love to see a shutdown inning here for Robbie Ray and the D-backs defense, especially given the way the offense has sputtered lately. They finally put a couple runs on the board. It's imperative that you hang a 0 up there in the bottom half of the inning.
Belts the 3-2 into the corner and left. Suarez on the run, headed for third. Billy Hatcher going to wave him home. Here's the relay from Ahmed, and it's not in time. The Reds on the board. RBI double for Philip Irvin.
Really struck well down into the left field corner by Irvin. Got a slider that stayed up over the heart of the plate, mid-thigh, and he pulls it down into the corner. David had some issues out there. Didn't pick up the ball cleanly on the first effort, and that's when Billy Hatcher started waving that left arm. Suarez comes all the way around from first base to score that run.
So a hit batter and a double open up the Reds' fourth. Here's Dixon, the first baseman. Fastball way upstairs from Robbie Ray. Dixon struck out his first time up. Former third-round pick by the Dodgers out of U of A. Breaking ball upstairs, 2-0. Fastball's a strike. Robbie now at 70 pitches, 39 for strikes. He's walked 2, struck out 4. Catcher Kurt Casale on deck. Dixon really putting up a fight in there at first base tonight for Joey Votto, who gets the night off. Dixon's had a big year when he's been down in AAA, nearly 50 games with Louisville. He's at 346 there. Another guy who's been up and down from the minors a couple of times this year. Left center. Peralta trying to call off AJ. Irvin tags and heads for third. Peralta was insistent that was his all the way. AJ was also calling for it out in front of the Diamondback bullpen.
I would tend to disagree with David on that one. AJ's momentum is carrying him more toward third base than David Peralta going away from third base right there. Also a much easier throw for the right-hander coming across at that angle than it is for David to turn back and throw against his body. And Irvin wisely tags up and advances. Yeah, that's AJ's ball all the way.
So now the tying runs at third, 1 out. Kurt Casale, the catcher, singled his first time up. Backdoor breaking ball, steal strike 1. Casale only 26 games in Cincinnati this year. Sold to the Reds from Tampa Bay at the end of May. Was right after the trade that brought in Matt Harvey. They sent their former All-Star catcher Devin Mesoraco to New York in that deal. So they were catcher down in their system. They picked up Casale from the Rays.
Yeah, Mesoraco just could never stay healthy here in Cincinnati.
Oh, boy, he had everything. One hip, both hips, one knee, both knees. It was just one after another. Guy from Puxatawney, Pennsylvania must have felt like Groundhog Day for him.
Yeah, unfortunately.
One surgery after another.
But in the meantime, the Reds got to look at Tucker Barnhart and decided that's our guy.
Good slider there, and it's 2-2. Barnhart's a nice defender back there, switch hitting catcher. he offer? Yes, he did. Greg Gibson rings him up. That's a big strikeout for Robbie Ray to get the second out in the inning with a runner at third and the pitcher coming up.
Sure looked like he swung at it. Some of the Reds fans aren't happy with that call by Greg Gibson down at first base, but I think he got it right.
So here comes Harvey, who struck out on a 3-2 pitch in the second. That one rolls away from Mathis, but Irvin stays put at third.
Secure your seats now for the big games next month that you do not want to miss. The D-backs will host the Cubs September 17th through the 19th, the Rockies September 21st through the 23rd, and the Dodgers September 24th through the 26th. Get tickets now at dbacks.com.
Got to avoid these hits, especially with men on base by the pitchers. That's been a problem for the Diamondbacks recently. Just kind of a quirk that's popped up here from time to time. And led to a big Reds inning last night when DeSclafani had that base hit just before the Hamilton bunt. Jerry Lane's been very consistent with that call. The fastball just on the outer half of that strike zone away from the right-hand batter. There's another one. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Robbie trying to strand that time. Run at third. Billy Hamilton would be next. Dunks it into right. Souza can't get it, and we're tied at 2. Once again, a big hit by the opposing pitcher creates a problem for the Diamondbacks.
So much for the shutdown inning. We're right back where we started from. D-backs scored 2 in the top half of the inning. The Reds answer with 2 of their own. The second one coming on a base hit by Matt Harvey. Nice effort out there by Steven Souza Jr. Just couldn't quite get to the spot in time. You can see how far he slid on that wet turf out there in right field.
Now Hamilton will hit. Hamilton lined out to right center his first time. Oh, and 2.
I certainly do not want to see this, but I wonder if Billy Hamilton hit one in the gap right now, if he could pass Matt Harvey somewhere between third and home.
I would absolutely bet on that.
Maybe between second and third.
Well, you got to hit it first. Robbie Ray knows he let the lead get away. We head to the 5th, now tied at 2. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers at Colorado. They have the early lead over the Rockies. 2-0 in the third at Coors Field. The D-backs and Dodgers, both 11 over 500, tied for the lead in the National League West. Giants host Pittsburgh later tonight. Here in Cincinnati, it's 2-2 D-backs and Reds, as Jeff Mathis is set to lead off the fifth against Matt Harvey. A 40-minute rain delay to start this one. Clear skies now. Clear skies in the forecast for tomorrow's series finale. That's Zach Godley versus Luis Castillo. And it's off to Texas and San Diego all next week. D-backs got their 2 runs in the top of the fourth. A Pollock single and Escobar 2-run homer. And in the home half, Irvin the RBI double, Matt Harvey the RBI single. Mathis struck out to win the second.
With that extra 90 feet that Phillip Ervin got on that fly ball to left center field when David Peralta kind of stole it away from A.J. Pollock, allowing Ervin to advance on to third base. I'm not so sure he scores from second base on that base hit to right field by Matt Harvey.
I wouldn't think so.
I would assume that Steven Souza Jr. would play that ball differently if there were a runner at second base. He probably plays it on a hop and gets off a strong throw to hold him at third base.
And if AJ can make the catch with his momentum going toward third base, Irvin probably doesn't tag anyway, right?
Boy, and it's so unusual to see the Diamondbacks make that kind of mental mistake defensively. It just doesn't happen. You know,
that seems to me, just in observing the play, a case of trying to do a little too much.
I mean, you know, the old saying the center fielder is the captain of the outfield. Well, that holds true to this day, especially on that play where his momentum was taking him in line with where the throw was going to go, as opposed to David going away from the throw.
And that may have allowed Irvin to tag up, get that extra 90 feet, and now we're tied at 2. Full count on Mathis, 3-2. Robbie Ray on deck. There's the fastball for a strike. 5 strikeouts for Ben Harvey. This looks like the Matt Harvey that was 4-0 during one 5-start stretch from the middle of June to the middle of July, when he beat teams like Chicago, Atlanta, beat the Cardinals, beat Milwaukee. He had it rolling there for a while. Robbie fights that one off. It's slicing away from Herrera, who lays out, can't make the catch. That's a fair ball. It rolls all the way to the wall, and Robbie Ray's got a 1-out double. Herrera ended up in foul ground. The ball was fair.
Ball was slicing away from him from the moment it left Robbie's bat. Kind of an inside-out slashing swing at that fastball. Nice effort that time by Herrera. Looked like he got to the spot, but just couldn't get the glove on the baseball, just out of his reach.
A chance to take the lead right back. 1 out for Peralta. Hitless tonight, 0 for 6 in the series. David gets into one. It backs up Hamilton in center field near the warning track, and he's got it. Robbie Ray stays put. Two down for Goldie. Goldie is flied out, grounded out, 0 for 2. He had a pair of hits last night, including a double late in the ball game. Likely the hardest ball hit all night last night by either team. That one's fouled away. Fastball in. Bullpen will get busy for the Reds. There's Amir Garrett, the left-hander. 53 appearances for Garrett, the most on the Reds pitching staff. Tap foul, Goldie down 0-2.
A straight change up that time from Matt Harvey. We mentioned in that last inning he worked. They're starting to incorporate a few of those slower secondary pitches to go along with the hard fastball slider combination.
Tried to check, can't. And Harvey has his 6th strikeout, strands the 1-out double. We stay tied at 2.
Time to take a look at our Coors Banquet timeless moment, more like a timeless decade. The Big Red Machine. Sparky Anderson leading the team, Johnny Bench behind the plate, Pete Rose. I mean, 6 Western Division titles, 4 National League pennants, 2 World Series championships, 6 MVP awards during the decade by 4 different players. Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench each won 2 MVPs. Pete Rose and George Foster won each. Man, could they do it.
And they did it without ever really having a big name pitcher. Now, Don Gullett was hot for a while. He got hurt. He went to the Yankees. But it was Jack Billingham and Clay Carroll and all guys like that. Very good pitchers, but they didn't have that dominant Hall of Fame arm over that whole run, really, except for Seaver Way at the end.
Well, with that offensive lineup that the Big Red Machine was running out there on a nightly basis, he just needed somebody that could throw the ball toward home plate against the other team, because you were going to score a boatload of runs. You knew that.
Here's Jose Peraza. Boy, when you go back and look at the rosters and the stats from some of those years, they went entire seasons used like 9 pitchers. It's amazing. Peraza 0 for 2.
Well, nowadays you use 9 pitchers in 1 game.
Yeah. They have a lot of those guys immortalized with statues outside the ballpark here. There's a Joe Morgan and a Tony Perez, a Johnny Bench, a Pete Rose. Reds Hall of Fame right out front in the ballpark here. They did a nice job with it.
They're all very nice. We get to see them every day when we walk home from the ballpark back to the team hotel. I'm still trying to figure out that Pete Rose statue, how they balance this thing. I mean, he's in the midst of a head-first slide right there. The only thing that's touching the ground are his forearms. How do they balance that thing? That's amazing.
Little looper that drops in over the head of Ketel Marte, and Peraza is aboard, making a 5-game hit streak. That was Pete Rose. Here's Joe Morgan right outside. This is a relatively new one. Johnny Bench is under there. The Tony Perez one just off to the right. It's a very nice entrance as you walk up to Great American Ballpark. That's the main entrance right there. And you've got all this stuff. The Reds Hall of Fame is just off to the right there. Here's the Tony Perez statue.
Best slider hitter I ever caught behind. You could throw a slider at the bottom of the kneecaps on the outside corner, and he'd hit a double to the gap in right center.
Yeah, and you know, after he got out of Cincinnati, he did it for a long time in Montreal and Boston. Had some very good years with the Red Sox. He was doing it for a long time, Tony Perez.
They called him Doggy. Boy, could he hit. All those guys could hit. Man.
And his son Eduardo, of course, had a good major league career. Now a baseball broadcaster, Eduardo Perez. Dilson Herrera has walked and flied out.
And Joe Morgan was a teammate of mine in San Francisco at the tail end of his career. I learned a lot about the game from Joe, just casually, just being around him and listening to the things he would say that were so astute and so far beyond anything I'd learned about the game of baseball. So I started to really listen every time Joe opened his mouth. Like questioning strike calls. If you're up at the plate and there's a borderline pitch, Joe never said, was that a strike? He would say, you're not going to go any farther off the corner than that, are you? And the umpire would say, no. So you're admitting it was off the corner. A little lawyer ball involved there for Joe from time to time, but he got a lot of calls over the course of his career, and he earned them.
You can make the argument that he was the best second baseman ever to play the game there for a while. Defensively, offensively, running the bases.
Stealing bases, yeah, hitting for power.
Total package, Joe Morgan. There goes Peraza. That one's fouled away. He's always a threat to go. 18 stolen bases on the year. Of course, back in those days, the Reds were in the National League West.
Right.
How about that? Huh?
The Braves were in the National League West.
Hell yeah. There's been some talk recently, some ideas about realignment again, making the divisions make a little bit more geographic sense, cut down on some of the travel. Of course, I think they have to add 2 more teams to make that work, which is another thing that's been talked about, expansion. 1-2.
Add a couple of teams to try to cut down on travel expenses, and the 2 new teams will probably be London and Sydney, Australia.
Well, we've been there. Sydney anyway.
The Yankees and Red Sox, I believe, are going to London next year.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. You may have to go visit Michael on that trip.
Might be a good time.
That case AI powered by AWS. There's Peraza's lead at first. 18 steals. He's been caught 4 times. Boy, Wilson Herrera really putting up a fight. Robbie already at 96 pitches, just trying to get through 5. And this has been a recurrent theme over the course of Robbie's D-backs career. Brad Ziegler starts to loosen up in the bullpen. Nobody out here in the 5th. Robbie has walked 2 and hit a batter. He's got 6 strikeouts. But creeping up on 100 pitches. There's that quick move over to first.
I haven't seen much of that this year.
That used to be his only move over to first, and now he seems to have put it away.
I still think it's a very effective move if you set it up properly. Show a bad move to first base, try to entice that runner to take an extra step or 2, and then do the snap throw.
Peraza takes off again. Here comes another one for Danny Graves, and it just missed the Reds radio booth. Just off to our right.
Well, we are definitely in the line of fire up here.
Yeah, we are. This is a good booth. It's nice and low. Sometimes we're way up high, like in Washington or Pittsburgh. This one is pretty low and close to the field, so we get a nice view. Just over the head of Billy Hatcher at third. Rocket into the seats. Beyond the protective fence down there. It stays 1 and 2. Barraza at first after his leadoff single. Runner on the move again. Pitch is high. Here's the throw. And they got him at second. Jeff Mathis throws out Jose Peraza. Only the 5th time all year Peraza has been caught attempting to steal. Vic Carapazza says you're out. The Reds having a look. They want a challenge.
Well, it sure looked like Peraza beat the throw, but then maybe came off the bag as he went sliding in there. And Nick, as usual, gets the tag down and keeps it on him. That right foot hits the bag, pops off right there. Tough to tell from that angle because Nick was kind of blocking our shot. Maybe a better look this time. Peraza's right foot hits the bag, comes off the bag.
Oh, man. Well, the headsets go on. It's up to New York now. You need definitive evidence that he came off the bag. Ahmed, as you said, Bob, just held the glove down there. Everybody here getting a look on the video boards, which are terrific here at Great American Ballpark.
Well, that's a nice play by Jeff Mathis. You know, there was a time if a runner got that kind of jump at first base, you just hold the ball. Why risk a bad throw if a guy has a big jump? Let him go ahead and steal the bag, go to work on the hitter. But now with the video replay and the ability to appeal some of these calls, go ahead and make the throw.
And you can see where Carapazza is positioned. He is right there to make the call. He was not screened by anything.
Well, even a good base stealer like Jose Peraza, that is a bad slide once again. That's a lost art in the game of baseball. There's only a couple guys on each team that are really adept at sliding and staying on the base.
Just pop up, right?
Yeah, like Goldie does every time. Now we've seen Ketel Marte throw some fancy hook slides, and we've seen the swim move on the head first slide. There's a lot of tricky ways to get to the base, but if you're trying to straight steal a bag, you want to get there as quickly as possible. As soon as that front foot hits the bag, that should stop your momentum and pop you up out of your slide and be ready to go to third base if the throw gets away.
But when you think back to the last golden age of base stealers, you know, Vince Coleman and Ricky Henderson, even Omar Moreno, guys like that, Willie Wilson, they never overslid the bag. That was a non-issue. They popped right up and they were in there.
And I think part of the reason is that a lot of teams hesitate to work on sliding because of the risk of injury. But then you see plays like that happen throughout the regular season. It looks to me like a lot of guys could use some instruction in base sliding.
He is out at second. Reds lose the challenge.
Peraza obviously feels he was on the bag the whole time. Maybe the right foot popped off, but he felt like the left leg or perhaps a hand got on the bag.
He's thrilled, as you can tell. But it does no good to complain to anyone here. The decision is made in New York City. So base is empty, 1 out now. Herrera's long at bat, got even longer there. It's 2-2. And now it's full. Scooter Gennett, the on-deck hitter. 100 pitches for Robbie Ray. 62 strikes. He has walked 2, struck out 6. Ahmed has it at shortstop. Well, the Boo Birds are out in Cincinnati.
Pretty nice crowd here for a Saturday night. We were delayed, as you said, 40 minutes by rain at the start. It looked like it was going to be one of those nights where the rain was here all night long, but as we got closer to the delayed game time, it turned into a beautiful evening.
And they have a country music concert here after the game tonight. I think it's Lester and Earl. Let's Scooter Gennett has walked and flied out. Chip McCap, I think, maybe. I don't know, one of those country guys.
I think it's Jake Owens.
Yeah, Jake Owen.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, one of those guys with 2 first names. I know you were on the lookout. You had a couple of bands that popped up on your radar here.
Yeah, if I was a player or manager or coach, I probably would have had to get ejected tonight to go see J. Roddy Walston in the business.
You're making that up.
No, I am not.
Wow.
They get after it.
So they give him the business, as it were.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I see. Robbie over 100 pitches, just trying to get through 5 at this point. 1-2 on Scooter Gennett. Was it REO Speedwagon that was here too?
I think they were here last night somewhere.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, we missed them.
You know who's big here is Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett does concerts here at Riverbend, which is right on the river, obviously. And people, there are hundreds and hundreds of boats out in the river parked close to the venue so they can hear the music. All the parrot heads, they wear the costumes and the whole deal, and cheeseburgers in paradise. They go crazy for Jimmy Buffett back here.
Bob's big boy here in paradise. Escobar in front of Ahmed. A long 5th inning, but Robbie Ray comes away unscathed, still tied at 2. A visit to Cincinnati without our old buddy, Mr. Redlegs.
Yeah.
How are you? Thanks for stopping by. This has become an annual tradition here for us, BB.
I love that mustache. That is outstanding.
Now, have you made any progress on getting rid of the other mascots? Because there's like 9 of them. Now, I know you're the man. I get it. But there's Rosie the Red, and then there's the creature thing running around, Gapper something. Yeah, don't look at him. You got to be held accountable for this. And I understand, all right, we'll work on that, you're going to race tomorrow, right? Thumbs up on that. Yep, deep knee bends, leg lifts.
I got news for you, though, Mr. Redlegs. You come to Arizona, Baxter will run you in the dirt. Baxter can scoot.
Yeah, here you go, Mr. Redlegs. That head is not exactly aerodynamic. But it looked like it hurt. Our old buddy. Hey,
yeah.
Seriously, thanks for stopping by. Always great to see you.
Always good to see you.
You notice they only talk during the commercials.
Yeah. Well, we shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, oops.
Oops.
0-2 on AJ. And Harvey gets his 7th strikeout.
Well, in Eduardo Escobar put the Diamondbacks on the board back in that 4th inning with his first home run as a D-back. Take a look at the pitch by pitch. Harvey misses badly down and in, misses low. And then on that 2-0 pitch, he just backed out of the box, took a called strike, fouls off a pitch, fouls off another pitch, fouls off another pitch, each time getting a little closer and a little closer. I misidentified that pitch. I think it was a slider that just didn't break. And Escobar hit it out of here to right field. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
Fouls off that one. He is walked and homered. D-backs 2 in the top of the 4th on the Escobar homer. Reds countered with 2 in the home half of the 4th. This is popped up to shortstop. Peraza. Quickly 2 outs for Harvey. Here comes Steven Souza Jr. I like that Mr. Redlegs. He's good people.
He's all right.
Or
yeah.
whatever he is.
Good mascot.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, by the way, it came and went, and we forgot to mention that Robbie Ray's double back in the 5th inning was his first hit this year. Robbie was a hitter last year.
Yeah, he really was.
Close to 250, but that was his first knock of the season.
Well, Souza has yet to make contact. He's punched out twice 0 for 2. Broken bat. And Dixon runs it down in foul ground. A quick 6 for the Dark Knight. We're tied up at 2. Special guest Steven Souza Jr. Cup of coffee presented by First Watch Restaurants. The Daytime Cafe comes up a week from tomorrow, next Sunday, after the D-backs and the Padres, right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good to have Cup of Coffee back with us this year. Producer Josh Kelman running that project. Brad Ziegler is on to start the bottom of the 6th inning. Robbie Ray goes 5. 2 runs on 4 hits. He walked 2, struck out 6. And Eugenio Suarez will lead it off for the Reds. Brad's 58th appearance this year, acquired from Miami at the trade deadline. Suarez has struck out, been hit by a pitch, and scored a run.
We talk about a different look. Robbie Ray with a big fastball straight over the top, fastball slider combination, everything hard, hard, hard. And then Brad Ziegler, submarine right-hander, everything in the low 80s down there near the bottom of the zone.
And right away, 0-2 on Suarez. Comes into tonight riding a 10-game hitting streak, during which he's batting better than .350. Looks at a breaking ball. And for Suarez, it's his 3rd hit streak this year of at least 10 games. Reaches out and pokes it to short. Ahmed spins and throws. Look at that throw. He gets it, does a complete 360, and throws it right to Goldie, who didn't even have to move the glove. That's remarkable.
Very athletic play by Nick Ahmed, turning his back to his target. Tremendous body control, spins around almost like an ice skater. You know, when they do that death spiral. His back completely turned to first base, but leads with his head, picks up his target. I mean, just a perfect throw to Goldie, right on the chest.
And we talk a lot about Nick's throwing during the Cup of Coffee episode we shot with him, which will be coming up in September. About how Andy Green helped him sort of begin to throw that way when Greeny was managing Nick at AA Mobile in the D-backs minor league system. Phillip Ervin is grounded out. He's got an RBI double. He scored a run. There's a foul ball. We need to give a big D-backs shout out, BB, as Andrew Chapin gets loose in the bullpen. To Anne-Marie Halverson. Allie Halverson wrote us. She's a baseball orphan because her mom is always watching Diamondback games. So she wondered if we could give a shout out to her mom, Anne-Marie Halverson. Goldie's got it at first. She is home recovering from another rotator cuff surgery. So a second rotator cuff procedure for Anne-Marie. So Allie and Anne-Marie, thanks so much for supporting the D-backs. We appreciate it, and get well soon.
So she'll probably be back on the mound in what, 12 to 14 months?
Yes. She's got a long rehab process. Here's Brandon Dixon. There's a funny thing about the letter that Allie sent to us. And that one will get into center. Dixon's got a base hit. Shortly after Allie was born, her mom, Anne-Marie, was given the chance to go up to the broadcast booth, and she met you and Tom Brenneman.
Really?
Yeah. And she still talks about it to this day. And her sister had a baby girl a few years ago, named her Burnley. Not Brenly, Burnley, B-R-Y-N-L-E-Y. So I think you were the inspiration for that.
or take the blame for that, one or the other.
Well, but anyway, that's the Halversons, who are big D-backs fans. So guys, thanks very much.
Absolutely. Good luck with your rehab from the rotator cuff. A couple of simulated starts, and then we'll get you out on a minor league rehab assignment.
The catcher, Kurt Casale, is singled and struck out. There's a tapper that stays fair for Mathis. Brad Ziegler works around the 2-out single. We are tied at 2 as we head to the 7th in Cincinnati.
You want to hear about this? Collect the final bobblehead this season on September 8th. The first 20,000 fans to the D-backs Braves game will take home the Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead courtesy of Pepsi. You must add this one to the collection, partner. Visit dbacks.com.
That is a very, very cool bubble. And Ketel Marte will lead off the 7th as Matt Harvey is back out there to start the inning for the Reds. 94 pitches for Harvey. So far he has walked only 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. Given up just 2 runs on 4 hits. Both runs coming in on the Eduardo Escobar 2-run homer. Marte so far 0 for 2.
This is always a little bit of a dicey inning for a starting pitcher. I'm sure Jim Riggleman told Matt Harvey, if we get down to your spot with a chance to score, we're probably going to have to hit for you. Well, they stopped at Kurt Casale, the hitter right before Matt Harvey.
Scooter Gennett at second base. Yeah, Harvey's spot is due to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning. Fans, tomorrow the premier Mexican soccer team Xolos de Tijuana returns to Fox Sports Arizona Plus to take on Cruz Azul. Visit live soccer action Sunday 6 o'clock, Fox Sports Arizona Plus. For Plus channel listings, check out foxsportsarizona.com. Nick Ahmed 0 for 2. Broken bat. That knocks into left field just over the head of Suarez. Ahmed takes a big turn halfway to second. And he's back safely. A 1-out single for Nick.
Love the aggressive base running. Nick goes down, gets another low pitch, hooks it down into that left field corner. I mean, any mishandling of this ball whatsoever. And Nick's going to end up at second base. Once he sees that throws on line to the bag, he has to hustle back into first base, but that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Boy, he was really busting it up the line, Nick Ahmed. Really hustling on that one. Jeff Mathis has struck out twice, 0 for 2. Pitcher spot behind him, John Jay in the on-deck circle. Suarez at third. They get 1, and they roll the double play. Well, Matt Harvey gets through 7. They're still tied at 2.
If I were lucky enough to have dinner with you, a Japanese meal, what would you suggest I have?
McDonald's. He said McDonald's.
What?
He said McDonald's. 美味しいよ. It's good.
I've had enough of that. Somewhere nicer than that.
そのさっき言った寿司店とか富山とか.
We'll probably go to Sushi Sen or Toyama.
Okay. All right.
It's good places.
Yoshi with a little humor there. That and more. Archie Bradley and pitching coach Mike Butcher, all part of the D-backs Local 9 presented by CenturyLink with Todd Walsh. That is tomorrow, immediately following the game here on Fox Sports Arizona. Guys, always entertaining. Yoshi with a little humor. And mentioning McDonald's, but in all seriousness, if you're looking for good sushi in the Valley, he knows where it is. So good restaurant recommendations as we get into the D-backs bullpen here in the 7th.
Yeah, Jody, it's Andrew Chafe, the left-hander. On to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Pitcher spot will lead it off, and Mason Williams will hit for Matt Harvey. So Harvey's night ends right here. Mason Williams, 295 at a homer. He singled in the ball game last night.
And you may be asking yourself, why a left-handed pinch hitter? That's all Jim Riggleman has available off the bench tonight, with the exception of Tucker Barnhart, a switch hitter, his other catcher. The other 3 position players available off the bench all hit from the left side, so Mason Williams drew the short straw.
That had like a bachelor type feel to it, Todd and Yoshi. Huh?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yoshi, I don't know if you're free, but I'm thinking next Thursday you and I grab some sushi.
I'm not big on sushi.
You're not a sushi guy.
No.
Is sushi big in Ohio?
Sushi is bait in Ohio.
Even if you put some Skyline chili on it?
Well, now you're talking.
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
see, the delicacy. Boy, nice slider that time from Andrew Chapin. Gets a swing and a miss to start the inning.
Here's Billy Hamilton, who now spins around and bats from the right-hand side against the left-hander Chafin, just like he did against Robbie Ray. And Matt Harvey was terrific here. 99 pitches, 64 strikes. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Just the 2-run homer by Escobar, the only real damage against him, as he finished off 7 innings. I don't imagine that growing up, Coshocton had a lot of good sushi joints.
Well, we didn't even have McDonald's. Are you kidding me? It was all local stuff. You know, Paul's Tasty Freeze,
Oh, the classics.
and Wayne's Dairy Delight. You know, family-run places.
Sounds idyllic.
We thought it was at
Yeah.
the time until we left Coshocton and realized, geez,
There's other stuff.
there's other food.
Who knew?
I can still remember the first time I ever had a taco.
Really?
In Fresno, California, 1978, and I must have eaten 1,000 tacos in a week. I couldn't get enough of them.
Oh, Fresno is famous for its
Oh,
stuff.
it was great. It was awesome.
That in the minors?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're still eating tacos to this day. And Hamilton has the 1-out single. Now he's on the bases.
That'll start the cat and mouse. Might slow him down a little bit with a left-handed pitcher on the mound in Andrew Chafin, but Billy Hamilton always looking to take that extra 90 feet, and in a tie ball game late, you can be sure he's going to be trying to get a jump over there.
Hamilton has stolen 27 bases this year. That's 3rd in the league. Torey Lovullo going to come out and check in with Jerry Lane, and we're going to change things up. We'll take a break. Archie Bradley on his way in, back from Cincinnati right after this. 56th appearance of the year. On to face the top of the order, the leadoff man, shortstop Jose Peraza. Double switch for the Diamondbacks. It's an all-new battery. John Ryan Murphy comes on to catch, replacing Jeff Mathis, who made the final out in the top half of this inning. So Murphy bats 9th pitcher spot, is now 8th in the Diamondback lineup. It's a tricky spot to come in, not just because it's 2-2 in the 7th and you've got the top of the order coming up, but you got to deal with Hamilton at first.
And Archie at times can be a little slow to the plate with that big leg kick.
Here's Peraza, 1 for 3, a single his last time up. This is in effect the advantage of batting the pitcher 8th. When you've got a speedster like Hamilton, you can hit him 9th, and it in effect becomes like a second leadoff man. Hamilton holds. A fastball misses, 1-0. Jerry Lane looking down the line at something. Archie trying to get his attention to get a new baseball. Hamilton 27 stolen bases. He's only been caught 4 times. Talked about an awkward spot or a tough one for Archie Bradley. How about John Ryan Murphy? Hey, go into the game and catch. Oh, by the way, Billy Hamilton's at first.
I'm sure John Ryan went up to the batting tunnel up near the Diamondbacks clubhouse and fired a couple balls into the net just to get some of the rust knocked off before going behind the plate with Billy Hamilton at first.
Hamilton holds. The 2-0 is a fastball that misses, and Archie's behind 3 balls and no strikes. Dilson Herrera, the left fielder, the on-deck hitter.
Archie's been consistently in the mid 1.4, 1.43, 1.45. And usually that's slow enough for Billy Hamilton to attempt a stolen base, but now in the 3-1 count, a hit and run becomes a possibility. You got a guy at the plate that handles the bat extremely well, speed on the bases.
Here it is on 3-1. Hamilton holds. Here's a fly ball to right center. AJ's there, shy of the track. Hamilton back to first. And that's out number 2. They will recall Herrera. And here comes Joey Votto to hit for the left fielder. Votto not in the starting lineup tonight. But not a bad bat to have on your bench.
Yeah,
Jim Riggleman.
nice secret weapon to have off the bench, although it's not much of a secret. I guarantee you that Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo have had one eye on Joey Votto all night tonight. Just like other managers do on those rare days when Goldie has a day off. You always know where he's at, and you always know where the opposing manager is likely to pinch hit in his order.
Well, here we go. Archie and Joey. Votto last night singled. He was walked intentionally. He's had a bit of a gimpy knee. It's a right knee bruise that caused him to miss a couple of games earlier this week.
Now, because Joey Votto is the hitter right here, you don't want to burn his at bat. You want to allow him to take this at bat and swing at a pitch he wants to swing at. So I think Billy Hamilton's probably just going to drop anchor down there at first base, at least up until a 2-strike count.
Well, certainly with the 2 outs, if Votto gets anything in a gap or down the line, it likely scores Hamilton with his speed from first. And there goes Billy Hamilton. Murphy's throw. Just a bit offline, and Hamilton is in there at second. Nice job by Nick Ahmed to tackle that one and keep it from getting into center.
Yeah, Billy Hamilton is one of those base stealers. You have to make him stop. You can't even little tiny steps off the bag. He just kept moving the entire time. He never was stationary over there at first base. constantly rocking back and forth, taking inches at a time towards second base. And if you don't make him stop, he'll just keep going.
And now with first base open, they give Votto the free pass, and they'll work to Scooter Gennett. So by stealing Hamilton, you essentially take the bat out of Votto's hands. But Gennett is certainly no slouch, 4th in the league in hitting with 17 home runs. A .311 batter, he's 0 for 2 with a walk. 2 on and 2 out. This is why Archie is in the game. You had the possibility that Votto would come off the bench to hit. Then you've got the big boys up there. As you mentioned, Bob, earlier, this is pretty much the lineup for Cincinnati once you get by Gennett and Suarez, who's on deck. So it's at this point you want Archie in the game. Fastball at 96. Two on and 2 out, 2-2 ball game in the 7th. Late on a fastball. Reds bullpen. Well, there's a familiar name and face. The right-hander, David Hernandez, former D-back.
David renewing acquaintances with a lot of his old teammates yesterday behind the batting cage.
Archie having a quick chat with Jerry Lane back there. Here's the 1-2. There goes Hamilton. And Gennett knocks it into center. AJ runs it down. An action-packed 7th, but we stay tied. Hamilton broke for third. Gennett lines out to center. We hit the gate. American Ballpark. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing pool play of the game. Eduardo Escobar, his first home run as a Diamondback, top 4, made it 2-0 D-backs, but the Reds answer immediately after Eugenio Suarez was hit by a pitch. Phillip Ervin doubled him home, and then a RBI 2-out single by the pitcher Matt Harvey. Souza couldn't quite get there. That tied the game at 2 as the Diamondbacks handed the lead right back. That's where we are right now. Our Gila River game summary from Cincinnati. 2-2 ball game as former D-back David Hernandez is on to face John Ryan Murphy. Joey Votto stays in the game, takes over at first base, and Brandon Dixon moves out to left field, replacing Dilson Herrera. First at bat tonight for John Ryan. There's Dixon, who was at first, now in left. And there's Votto in his familiar spot. John Ryan, 209 this year, 9 homers. As he steps in right now, he is stuck in a 5 for 50 slump. John Ryan's at bats have dried up a little bit. It's got to be really hard to get out of a slump when you're digging yourself a hole and you're kind of fighting things to get very inconsistent chances to get up there and fix it. But that's where John Ryan finds himself now with 3 catchers on the roster, 2 and 2.
Yeah, just the lack of live game pitching. I mean, you can hit off all the coaches and pitching machines you want to, but until you have somebody in a different colored uniform out there trying to get you to swing and miss, it's a tough adjustment. Getting used to being a part-time player.
Got a fastball and foul is straight back. Yeah, John Ryan had a difficult July, 4 for 42 at the plate last month. And really what it looked like from up here was him chasing some pitches out of the strike zone a lot more often than he was earlier in the year when he was red hot back in May. Pops this one up first base side. Sure enough, there's Votto. So Murphy's retired. Here comes David Peralta. David 0 for 3, hitless in the series. Up against his former teammate David Hernandez, who has really pitched well for Cincinnati as of late. This is not a bad Reds bullpen here. Hernandez in his last 28 appearances has pitched to a 1.39 ERA. And he can give Jim Riggleman multiple innings if need be. He's done that several times this year. 0-2 on Peralta. Dodgers still lead at Colorado 2-0. They're in the 6th inning. Pirates and Giants just underway. No score in San Francisco. Yasiel Puig, a home run for LA at Coors Field. Goldie will be next. Shaping up to be a big summer at the plate for David Peralta. Since June the 1st, he's hitting .342. Over 400 since the All-Star break. Slams this one deep to right field. Say goodbye, David Peralta. And the Diamondbacks have a 3-2 lead. That's number 20 for the freight train.
said David Hernandez is an old friend of the Diamondbacks, but not tonight. David Peralta gave him a greeting before he got into that left-handed batter's box, and then gave him a real greeting with that blast to right field. That ball was way out of here.
Goldie knocks one down the line in left. It's in the corner. Dixon in there to fish it out. Goldie in at second with a stand-up double. D-backs have come alive against their former teammate.
Ball's off the plate inside and tailing farther in, and Goldie still gets the barrel on it down into that left field corner for a one-out double.
The bats are waking up. Time now for a mound visit. Here comes Danny Darwin. Boy, he was a really good pitcher for a long time, Danny Darwin. Interim pitching coach. Now to talk to David Hernandez. Remember Danny Darwin when he pitched? He had that big mustache.
Yeah, he was part of those Houston Astros pitching staffs that wear tool belts out on the mound.
Still a little bitter, aren't you?
Sandpaper, nail files, all kinds of things.
Well, he was in Boston for a while, Danny Darwin. How about David Peralta, number 20? That's a jumbo jack, free jumbo jack tomorrow. A Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. Second D-back homer tonight. All 3 runs for the Diamondbacks coming via the long ball. Chance to add to the lead with Goldie at second and 1 out. AJ has singled twice. He's 2 for 3. You just can't let it go, can you?
No.
That's beautiful. Hernandez has got it. Thought about third. Goldie moves up. They retire Pollock. One more look at David Peralta's 20th of the year.
I mean, he's hit some balls hard this year, but this one goes a long way. We were talking about how this ballpark looks small, it plays small, and when you hit one like this, 415 feet, 107.9 miles an hour off the bat, it goes a long way.
Well, Escobar is homered in the game as well, and Riggleman is going to get out there and get a new pitcher in. We're in the 8th in Cincinnati. D-backs now lead at 3-2. Philadelphia skipper Gabe Kapler brought in a right-hand batter to face Eduardo Escobar, who just crushes righties. Jim Riggleman not falling into that trap. He'll bring in the lefty Amir Garrett. So Escobar, the switch hitter, will bat from the right-hand side. He's got Goldie at third and 2 outs. He has walked and homered. Escobar's slugging percentage against right-hand pitchers is almost 600. He's been crushing righties this year. So Riggleman goes to his left-hander. Fastball fouled away. It's 0-2. Chance to tack on a big run right here. A bit of a quick pitch from Garrett.
Well, you see Amir Garrett out there on the mound, you can't help but think about Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
Tall, long arms, long legs, left-hander, throws hard.
And this is where we first saw Chapman.
Yeah.
Coming in throwing 102 all the time. He's trying to throw something that's not a fastball. It's hard to tell exactly what. 2-2. Souza on deck. Boy, he's all over the place now. Escobar's worked at full 3-2. Garrett was a dominant reliever earlier in the year. Less so lately. Escobar got under it just a bit. It backs up Dixon. He's got it in left. Goldie stranded at third, but the D-backs take the lead. David Peralta continues his hot hitting, number 20 off David Hernandez. And the D-backs have a 3-2 lead in Cincinnati. Complete. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Archie Bradley back out there now to start the bottom of the 8th inning. And here's the cleanup man, Eugenio Suarez. Suarez has struck out, been hit by a pitch, grounded out. 0 for 2. He's got a 10-game hit streak on the line. Fastball is low, but strike one, says Jerry Lane. Archie Bradley came on, got the final 2 outs of the 7th. Worked around an intentional walk to Joey Votto. Couple of fly ball outs. And that hit Suarez second time tonight. He's been hit by a pitch. That must have got somewhere on the uniform, a thread perhaps. Jerry Narron on the phone. Hit by pitch is subject to review.
Yeah, maybe just caught the front of the jersey right there.
Got him in the button.
That hurts when you get hit in the button. Oh.
You get hit right on the button, as it were. Anyway, he's the tying run, nobody out. And the batter is Phillip Ervin, who has an RBI double in the 4th. Came home and scored the tying run on Matt Harvey's 2-out RBI single. I don't think we've seen a curveball yet from Archie tonight.
I think he might have thrown one to Mason Williams. I think. I remember he threw one to somebody. No, it couldn't have been him. Must have been Jose Peraza, the first hitter he faced.
That was it right there. Escobar at third, got a hurry. And they just do get Ervin at first as Suarez moves up in a scoring position. Slowly hit to third.
That serves the purpose of a sacrifice bunt to move that runner into scoring position. Escobar couldn't find the handle initially, but finally does re-grip and fire across the diamond just in time to get Ervin.
So the Reds have the tying run in scoring position. 1 out for Brandon Dixon, who singled his last time up against Brad Ziegler. Another curveball from Archie. Spiked that one in the dirt. 1-0. Dixon's a guy who was called up by the Reds for his major league debut in May, but just sat on their bench day after day. Finally got sent back down to the minors last month, was recalled from Louisville July 21st. And since he's been back up, 4 for 30. Fastball's a strike, 1-1. Reds bullpen has been busy most of the night ever since Matt Harvey left. Lorenzen and Iglesias, couple of right-handers. Takes a hack at a low fastball. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Kurt Casale, the catcher, the on-deck hitter. Right down Main Street. TJ McFarland, the left-hander, starts to get loose in the Diamondback bullpen. There's the D-back bullpen in left center field. Back of your picture there. The Reds switched the bullpens this season. Cincinnati now takes the bullpen that's deep in the right field corner. 1-2 on Brandon Dixon. Got him. Went to the breaking ball. Starting to see that a lot more here. And Archie gets his first strikeout.
Yeah, he really put that pitch in his back pocket for a long time. He had some issues with a fingernail cracking on his index finger that caused him to really struggle with that curveball. And he just didn't see it for about 8 or 10 outings for Archie Bradley. Just all fastballs, but starting to reincorporate that curveball once again.
It could be a big pitch for him, especially, Bob, in 2-strike counts.
Oh, yeah.
You get swings like that. Or Casale singled in the second. He's 1 for 3. Tying run down there at second with 2 down. Back to the curveball one more time. Second time he's tried it on the first pitch of the at-bat, and the second time he spiked it. Sally, a .294 hitter this year, former Tampa Bay Ray. Picked up by the Reds earlier this year. Fastball in, it's 2-0. Pitcher spot is next. Tucker Barnhart is in the on deck circle. The starting catcher normally, switch hitter.
Well, it was going to be Tucker one way or the other, either Preston Tucker or Tucker Barnhart. That's all that Jim Riggleman has available position player wise off his bench.
And Preston Tucker was picked up from Atlanta in the Adam Duvall deal. He's not been able to play all week long. He got hit on the left foot by a pitch Monday and was in a walking boot for part of the week. Hasn't played since. So he might be the last resort down there. Archie behind 3-0. So he loses Casale, and here comes Barnhart. Mike Butcher. Second walk issued by Archie. The other was intentional. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Our series finale tomorrow morning. It's breakfast with the Diamondbacks. D-backs live pregame show at 9:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Zach Godley, who has been outstanding lately, against right-hander Luis Castillo, who has been less so. Diamondbacks hopefully tomorrow will be going for the series win if they can hang on here. And then it's off to Texas and San Diego. Some work to do for Archie. 1-run lead in the 8th inning, 2 on and 2 out. A good hitter up there in Barnhart. The switch hitter batting from the left-hand side, 243 and 7 homers. Suarez is the tying run at second base. With Sally the go-ahead run at first. Barnhart doubled and scored last night. He was 1 for 4. Fastball's a strike. Anthony's 0-1. Left-hand side is his power side. That's where he's got 6 of his 7 homers. D-backs have out-hit the Reds 7-6. They lead at 3-2. Two on and 2 out. Reds tonight have stranded 7 base runners. Here's the 1-1. Missed away. Now he's really digging himself a hole. It's 3-1. You've got Hamilton on deck. 30 pitches for Archie Bradley. Only half of them for strikes.
A dangerous pitch upcoming. 3-1 count. Obviously a hitter's count. Archie struggled to command that curveball so far tonight. If you're Tucker Barnhart, you're sitting on fastball right here.
Got it. Good spot for Archie, just below the knees. It's full 3-2. Boy, if you could come up with a curveball like the one he threw to Dixon with 2 strikes, we can get out of this 8th.
And there might have been a time earlier this season before the fingernail issue that Archie would have thrown a curveball 3-2, but I think the way he struggled to command that number 2, I think he's going to throw another heater here.
Suarez at second, Casale at first. 2 outs, 3 and 2 to Tucker Barnhart. There go the runners, and this one is fouled away. Now 32 pitches for Archie Bradley, who got the final 2 outs of the 7th. Trying to navigate the 8th. Runners will be on the move again. Here it is. That's out to left center field, and trouble. Suarez is home. Casale right behind. 2-run double, and it's 4-3 Cincinnati. Barnhart had a big double in the 7th inning last night. And tonight, he gives the Reds the lead.
It's awfully tough to pitch at the major league level with one pitch. Archie threw all fastballs that at bat to Tucker Barnhart. Eventually gets one up in the zone and lines it into that gap in left center to give the Reds a lead.
Well, for the second time in the ball game, the Diamondbacks take the lead in the top half of the inning and give it right back in the home half. Archie Bradley will leave. Reds have a 4-3 lead. Back after this.
Bradley, watch how Tucker Barnhart, his timing is a little better as this at bat goes on and on. He's getting that front foot down a little bit quicker, catching up to that fastball a little bit more. Fouled that 96 off, comes right back with another 96, almost an identical spot. Barnhart finds that gap in left center to drive home to our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
2 out, 2-run pinch hit double makes it 4-3 Cincinnati. Barnhart at second, still 2 outs. TJ McFarland on to face Billy Hamilton. The numbers on TJ this year. His 40th appearance. He's been outstanding, a 1.80 ERA. Dodgers still leading at Colorado 2-0. They're in the 7th inning at Coors Field. Giants and Pirates scoreless in the 3rd at San Francisco. That one gets by TJ into center. Here comes Barnhart. AJ overruns the baseball, and it's 5-3. It almost clipped McFarland, got into center. Billy Hatcher was waving the catcher in from second, and Pollock overran the ball.
Yeah, I think that ball clipped TJ McFarland on the throwing hand as it went by the mound on into center field.
Yeah, here comes Ken Crenshaw. Out to have a look at TJ.
Yeah, stuck the left hand out there in desperation, just trying to knock that ball down any way he could. It deflected off his throwing hand on out into center field.
Here's AJ in center.
Didn't really alter the play any. Barnhart was going to score from second base on that base hit into center anyhow. Billy Hamilton held at first base. Now you got to keep an eye on him over there.
DJ throwing some warm-up tosses. Looks like he's okay, fortunately. Now it's a 2-run Reds lead. And here's the leadoff man, Jose Peraza.
Once again with Billy Hamilton, you just have to make him stop. Make him be stationary over there at first base before you deliver a pitch. If you allow him to keep moving his feet, it doesn't look like he's covering a lot of ground, but his momentum is carrying him towards second base.
And Hamilton singled and stole second against the left-hander Chafin in the 7th. His 28th steal of the year. There he goes again, and he's in there.
So quick. Just edging off, edging off, edging off. Had his weight out on the right foot, which allowed him to cross over into that stolen base attempt. Nice attempt there by Nick to keep the tag on him, hoping that Hamilton came off the base, but able to hang that left hand on there.
And now they will give Peraza the free pass with first base open. And they'll work to the left-hand hitting Joey Votto.
Well, that does not happen very often, as you can imagine, walking anybody to get to Joey Votto with a runner in scoring position.
Well, Votto, even though he's Joey Votto, has been a little more pedestrian against left-handers this year. He's a .237 hitter versus lefties. 2 on and 2 out. Reds have outstanding speed on the bases here, and Votto shoots it into left. Here comes Hamilton. The throw from Peralta's offline, and it's 6-3.
Looked like Votto was going that way the entire time. You mentioned he struggled against lefties. Really abbreviated swing that time. Just tried to get the barrel on the ball. And with Billy Hamilton's speed, that's an easy run.
It's turned into a 4-run Cincinnati 8th. And the batter is Scooter Gennett, who has walked. He's 0 for 3. He wins, says Jordan Baker. Gennett, the 9th man to bat in the Cincinnati 8th. Five straight have reached for the Reds, all with 2 outs. D-backs in the 9th inning will have Souza, Marte, and Ahmed due up 5, 6, and 7. Reds have now out-hit the Diamondbacks 9-7. High chopper. TJ's under it. And the inning finally ends. Reds send 9 men to the plate. 4 score. They lead it 6-3. Second night in a row is the right-hander Raisel Iglesias, who worked the 9th inning in last night's ball game through 16 pitches. Out there with a 6-3 lead, he has converted each of his last 6 save chances, 22 for 25 on the year.
Good-looking young right-hander for the Reds. You know, I mentioned seems odd walking a hitter to get to Joey Votto. That was the first intentional walk in 10 years to the hitter in front of Joey Votto. September of 2008 was the last time that somebody intentionally walked a hitter in front of Joey Votto.
It didn't work. Votto in an RBI single into left field. Souza, broken bat, lines out to shortstop. 1 pitch, 1 out. Brings up Ketel Marte, who's 0 for 3. Iglesias got a big fastball. 0-1 on Ketel. Still looking for his first base hit in the series. Breaking ball, and it's 0-2. This is the 11th time this year that Iglesias has pitched on consecutive days. His save opportunities have been a little inconsistent this year with the Reds in last place. Marte punches that foul.
I'm not sure the planned usage for Raisel Iglesias for the Reds, and Jim Riggleman, but if he's pitched 2 days in a row and you can extend him here in this outing, get his pitch count up there in the mid-20s, it might take him out of the picture for tomorrow's ball game.
Bounce to shortstop. Peraza comes in. 2 down. Iglesias last night, 16 pitches, 10 for strikes. 2 outs on 6 pitches here, and Nick Ahmed is the last man standing. Cody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show presented by CenturyLink is up next. A lot of questions about that 8th inning, I'm sure, for Torey Lovullo, who stuck with Archie Bradley for a long time there, 30+ pitches. As the Reds bounce back with a 4-run 8th to lead it 6-3. And now in position to lock up a series win here tonight, with Zach Godley and Luis Castillo going tomorrow. In the 8th inning in Colorado, Dodgers still lead the Rockies 2-0. Giants hosting Pittsburgh. Pirates have a 1-0 lead, bottom 3rd. Good crowd here tonight, better than 29,000. Pitcher spot up next, Daniel Descalso, hoping to get a chance. Ahmed strikes out, and the Reds win the ball game and clinch a series victory. And this one hurts. D-backs had leads of 2-0 and 3-2, but they dropped this one on a Saturday night in Cincinnati, 6-3.
Yeah, another shaky outing for Robbie Ray. You know, you look at his numbers and it never looks like he really gets beat up, but he's always working so hard to get each and every out in an inning. You'd like to see Robbie cruise a little bit more, and bullpen just wasn't up to it